Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Chris Durkees of chrisdurkees.com. And in this video, what I want to do is talk about soul readings for children, what they are, and why I think they're so important and so beautiful. So to begin, something I hear parents say very often, they'll say something like the following. They'll say, I saw from the beginning something about my child. I saw some spark, some light, something in them that was just them right from the beginning, and I've seen that, whatever it is, carry throughout the whole of their life. And I'm a parent as well. I'm the parent, as of now, of one child, and our family's soon to be welcoming a second soul into the family in a few months. And I know this experience too, of seeing in my daughter's eyes something that was her right from the beginning that has carried forward throughout her life. Now, normally parents will refer to this something, this elusive light or quality, something that they're noticing of their child's essence. They'll usually refer to that as, I saw my child's personality. I saw their personality from the beginning, they say, and their personality has carried forward into their later childhood, adolescence, even into their adulthood. And I would like to suggest that we're not actually seeing at that point the personality. What we're actually seeing, I would say, is the child's soul. Soul, to me, is a word that indicates the unique light of each of us. Soul is what makes you, you, and no one else. Soul is what makes me, me, and no one else. And for each child, it is the same. For children, of course, their mental capacities, their physical capacities, their emotional capacities, their interpersonal capacities, all of these are growing in a very sequential order over the course of their life. But from a soul point of view, a child's soul comes in fully intact from the beginning. They're ready to go from the beginning, and that's why parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and friends of the family and siblings say, I saw something in their eyes. In the Middle Ages, they would say that the eyes were the window to the soul. That if you gaze deeply into the eyes of another being, you see their uniqueness. And this is most especially the case with children. Now, in terms of soul readings for children, we can now add a slight modification, which is, what if we could start to give some language? What if we could start to give some frame of reference? What if we could start to give ways to understand and comprehend this otherwise elusive, alluring, mysterious light and uniqueness to each child? Because what tends to happen over the course of a life is that many other things become more important, frankly. And the voice of our souls is a powerful voice, but it's often a quiet one. And the noise of the world can drown out our souls. And that can start very young into childhood and continue forward throughout life, leading perhaps way down the line into adulthood, into existential crises or soul initiation type experiences, or in the worst case, a kind of soullessness. It's tragic to say, but in my experience, this world does not welcome souls. And therefore, I think it's crucially and vitally important as parents and as those who care for young ones to see, to affirm, and to nurture their souls. And this offering of mine is to support parents and caregivers in that role of affirming and nurturing and supporting the soul of a child, because I do believe as parents, children have chosen us to be their parents. I believe their souls have chosen us to guard, to care, to support, to empower, and to nurture their souls. And that's a beautiful task, that's a beautiful responsibility, but it can be a bit of a challenging one from time to time. And I'm here to help in that regard, So I have some specific training and aptitude to assist in this manner. So I call myself a soul interpreter or soul translator. So if we think of this elusive, mysterious, unique personal essence that we call a soul, this thing that you see in your child from the beginning but is hard to name, it's hard to put words to. For me, a soul is the unique language of light for each person. And my role as an interpreter or translator is basically to speak soul language and then to speak everyday English and basically be able to translate the language of light, the language of soul of your child into terms, into concepts, into ideas, into language, into frames of reference that will make sense to you as a parent. When I do soul readings for children, I'm looking at the following kinds of areas. I'm looking for the deepest quality of their unique light. I'm looking at the inherent strengths of a soul, and in particular, I'm looking at the inherent challenges. The soul is like the deepest coding for each of us, and in it is kind of encoded our destiny. And we can either align our lives to that destiny, or we can try to develop our lives out of alignment. We can swim with the current of our soul, or we can try to go against it. And parents learning in a very deep and precise way about the specific qualities and attributes of the soul of your child can profoundly aid and assist you in parenting with an eye to nurturing and supporting the soul of your child, so that as they are growing up, they are developing their personality in alignment to their soul. They know who they are at the deepest level. They feel affirmed and loved and accepted at the deepest level. They've learned about the inherent challenges. Every soul's energy comes with its own strengths. It comes with its own built-in challenges. And how we navigate those challenges has a great deal to do with the efficacy of our lives. If we know what the inherent challenges of our soul are, and we have specific practices that we can work to cultivate so that those vulnerabilities or susceptibilities or challenges of our soul can be met in a constructive fashion, then we are profoundly empowered and supported from early on to develop connection to our deepest self and to live out of resiliency and wholeness. So that's what the reading focuses on. The reading focuses on a way of beginning to give some language, some frame of reference and understanding to the unique light, in particular the kind of strengths that soul will bring, and also the inherent challenges, with a specific point made about kinds of practices that can be cultivated starting from a very young age in age-appropriate ways, and then can kind of be built as the child grows up. But practices that help them respond to the inherent challenges of their soul. Let me give you an example. Some souls come with this profound, loving openness, and people are drawn to them because people inherently trust these kinds of souls, these ones that have this deep, inherent empathy. And that's a beautiful thing. Their presences are very loving and healing. But there is a challenge there, which is they can become sort of emotional martyrs. They can be sacrificing themselves over the course of their lives, giving, and never really receiving, having trouble saying no, having to help and rescue every sort of lost puppy they encounter. So instead, we would develop, in that case, a practice so the child learns to maintain their own energy, maintain their own boundaries, and then be loving and healing within those boundaries. They can learn to be a loving and healing presence and not feel responsible for fixing everyone's pain. So those are the kinds of things that we cover in this reading. It's very comprehensive, it's very detailed, and it's done with an eye towards you as the parent to be supportive so that you can translate for your child their own soul. So if that is of interest to you, if that feels like that's pulling on your heartstrings, click the link that's below that will take you to my website, and there's a huge amount of information on how the readings are done and the logistics and all the background, and you can always contact me if you have any questions. The readings can be very naturally timed to the seasons and the rituals of childhood, holidays, birthdays. If you want to support a family that you're close to that has just welcomed in a new being, a new soul into their home, these are good times to do readings, but really any time is a good time to do a reading. We see the light, we see the souls of our children. And unless we learn to consciously support them in developing their lives in alignment to their souls will tend to get a bit hidden. That light will tend to get a bit muted. It'll still be there, but it'll be a bit covered over by everything else that comes in the world. So in this way, we're doing the deepest kind of service to affirm, to love, and to build specific practices and strategies to support a child in learning how to navigate the inherent strengths and challenges of their own uniqueness. So I wish everyone well on that path. Peace and blessings. Bye for now.